Okay, welcome to episode number...
I think it's number 24.
24, wow.
Yeah, episode 24. I'm here instead of Mendel.
Building the Careco podcast. Building Careco.
Building Careco.
And it's...
Season 2.
Season 2.
I guess it's...
Shlomo and Shlomo.
2. That's right.
Technology guy and your design. Is that the right way to phrase it?
Like marketing.
Marketing?
Yeah.
And design? Or is design
That is
included
part
in
of marketing?
Okay. Because you do all the videos, all the Careco videos and design right now.
Yeah. There's growth, marketing, and content.
What's content? Where does content come
Content
into?
is making the actual stuff.
Oh, the content of the marketing.
Yeah. Marketing decides
material.
like what's the messaging, what's the brand, whatever. Content makes the stuff, and then growth analyzes it and decides what new experiments to try.
So if someone's head of growth at a company, are they in charge of marketing and design? No?
Mm-mm. Usually they work together with marketing and design, but their job is to like basically measure everything. So like how efficient, how well are we doing on our campaign?
Okay, and they give that information back to who?
To the marketing and the content people. They also might come up with new ideas for the content and marketing teams.
So all they do, they're like an analytics engine that kind of gives out the data and has no say or input in terms of like, what do we do next?
They do also come up with ideas, but they're mainly analytics. They also decide often where to send things, like where to distribute as well.
Interesting.
But basically marketing makes sure that everything that is made fits the company image, messaging, whatever. I think content people actually make the stuff. So everyone like works together. It's like, you know.
So what do you, like we have, usually Mendel like drives the conversation. I don't know that he has a specific format, but like, do you want to try something different?
Yeah.
Should we talk a bit about ourselves or about our past?
Yeah. How the heck did you get here?
How did I get here? Oh, I should start.
Started 6,000 years ago.
Okay. Sit back. Many, many years ago. So I guess, as someone doing technology, I guess I'll start from that perspective. Like I didn't officially learn any coding, not in school, not in boot camp, nowhere.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York. I went to school that we didn't learn English. No reading, no writing.
English studied? Oh, okay.
Yeah, my parents also do not really know English. My mother's Israeli. My father grew up in a kind of a non-English speaking community for the most part. So I didn't really have a lot of that. At some point I was working as an archivist. It was a slightly technical job, cataloging, but also data entry, database management, server management.
Were you like watching all the videos and like figuring out what they were about?
No. So it wasn't about content cataloging. It was more about managing the restoration, preservation. We took like analog videos and convert them to digital. So we would take these old films or magnetic tape.
Interesting.
And convert it to digital, and then do run a quality control, see that we're happy with the results. Then we would store that on tape storage. Like there's this concept of like where you can store things on magnetic storage, which is a hard drive, or today solid state drive. Is the I guess corollary of that. And then there's tape. You actually take a magnetic tape. It's like a cassette.
Okay.
And you store digital content on that. It's considered much more reliable and cheaper, or at least so it was in the days when like 100 gigabyte hard drive was like $50.
Right.
Today that you get, I don't even know what size you get. Like the big hard drives, you probably get a few terabytes in there.
Yeah, you can probably get for $80 like 2 terabytes.
Right. So I don't know anymore how tape. I mean, it's safe to assume that tape increased as well with that over time. I guess
seems like very flawed.
Because back then the tape was like maybe like LTO, I think it was called LTO 5 was like the newer version, and that was maybe 2 terabytes at the time. It was also very slow. It wasn't a disk hard drive. You have like a
Right.
disk spinning, and then you have a pin that can randomly jump at any point on the disk. So he has immediate access to any byte that it wants. In tape,
You
it
gotta
has to
rewind it.
wind
Oh
all
my
the way to the
god.
beginning, all the way to the end. So you can't just access randomly a thing. No, but it's not
So
meant
you
for.
can't like skip around the video to like
No. So it's not meant for that. It's meant
to store.
to
Okay.
store long-term storage.
Gotcha.
And then when you pull it off, you pull it onto hard drive. You wait the hour or whatever it takes, and then you kind of play it off the hard drive.
Is that what they do for cold storage? Is that what it means when they do cold storage?
I think so. I think when Amazon AWS came out with this concept, Glacier is like their storage that's like takes like up to 8 to 10 hours. I don't know how many hours to retrieve the data, but it's like 10 times cheaper. They didn't officially say what it's about, but people were suspecting it was tape storage. But the tape is not just it wasn't just that it's cheaper. It is also that it's much more reliable, durable, long term.
Seems really interesting. You'd think the other opposite, because it's like this flimsy.
No, but ultimately they're both magnet. Like, I mean, at least the hard drives, not the solid state drive, they're magnet. So instead of storing it on a magnetic disk, you store it on a magnetic tape. The hard drives have a lot of, it's very complex. They have a lot of moving parts, and the pins, delicate. Like in the tape, it could, obviously you don't want to mess around with it, but even if it falls out of the box,
Right,
you pick it up, you clean it, you put it back, and you get your data. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it in terms of the durability of it. So anyways, yeah, we're getting derailed here, but I was doing archive related stuff, and there was a programmer at the time doing some media management software, and I somewhat had to do it like maintaining the server that was related to that. So I saw some of the code, and then I was like, oh, interesting. Like it looked like gibberish. But like at some point I realized like that's like after many times looking at it, I started realizing like a pattern. Like you do like this equals that, and then like you like access the value that you just did, this equals that, and then started like realizing, oh, maybe that's how it works. And then it was a bit intrigued, so I tried it.
How old were you at this time?
26 probably.
Wow.
25, 26. I think so. Somewhere around there, maybe even older. Yeah, I wasn't young at all, and I was like very intrigued. And I tried and I messed around with it a bit, and whatever. Didn't think of it much, but it was interesting. And I was never like for learning abstract things. Like for me, learning something that's abstract is like I maybe have ADHD or something that I just can't focus on abstract things. But the minute something has it means something to me, I'm like, oh, I can do that. That's when I start getting very interested and very focused on it. So at some point I realized, one second, and this was, I don't know if you know about code languages, but this was PHP time.
Okay.
So PHP was a very unique language in the sense that you can, like today, there's like front end, back end, it's like a bunch of stuff. Then PHP was just like one language that does both front end and back end. So you just write one thing and bam, and you write one little line of code and you can kind of drop it on an Apache server through like an FTP client, through like this folder sharing thing. You drop this little file, you edit it, you drop, and bam, and you have like a server. You have a thing doing things, and then you just connect it to the database and you can pull data and then you can show it on the screen. So it was very powerful. It was like, oh my God, one second, this is what we can do. And then I started thinking of all the things that I can do, because we had a lot of pain points internally of managing media and cataloging things. And we weren't very organized, or at least I wasn't very organized. And so I was like thinking like, oh, maybe this could solve my problems. And then that's what I started thinking. And that's where that's like when like there's a light bulb moment where like everything just went up, like, oh my God, maybe I can do something here. And then I bought a book like for dummies, or one of those types, I don't know for dummies, but something similar. Maybe it was the I forget what they call them, but yeah, a book about like PHP and HTML and CSS, and like I devoured that book, and like it started clicking slowly. Like for me, like new concepts, like a whole new language or a whole new way of thinking, like, you know, when I learned a bit of math, or or with code, like it didn't click right away. Like it took like a lot of time until like it clicked. But once it clicked, it was like, oh my God, I get it. And anyways, that's when at some point I really like just fell in love with it, and I was just coding all the time and learning about it and reading about it and obsessed with it.
What was the first, do you remember the first thing you made? Like useful
Yeah, yeah.
tool?
It was interesting. We used to use FFmpeg for a lot of the internal, transferring videos from one format to another. What we try to do, I mean, you're a media guy, so you would probably understand this a bit, but maybe it's a bit too nerdy for some of the listeners. But
We'll translate.
so basically, what we would do is, as part of our preservation process, was we used to get like these either recordings from video camera, like digital video cameras for like interviews that they would do fresh, or we would do videos that were preserved from tape. But generally, we try to get everything at the highest quality possible. But once we got it, we try not to mess with the codec, because first of all, you have to make a choice. What are you going to transcode it to? Which format? And then you have to run that process, and it's a costly process. And then you may also it's a lossy process. You lose data potentially unless you're up, what is it called when you upsample it, or up
Like making the
making like the codec
higher and stuff
yeah,
like
when
that.
you're doing a higher quality codec. So our simple solution was like just try to keep everything in the original codec, and just maybe remux it into a different container, or maybe like combine the audio and the video, or combine two videos that are sequential together, just stitch them through remuxing is kind of where you don't retranscode, you don't decode and recode the file, you just kind of change the wrapper around it, the container that kind of says, oh, here's the audio file, or here's the video file, and here's how you play it from here to here and from here to there.
Right.
So
like the MP4 to MOV type of thing, or whatever.
Right.
It's probably not a good example, but
yeah. So technically, I think MOV is like a container. MP4 is also a container. The codec inside could be
Right.
Usually for MP4 it's H.264 is the codec.
right. And then for MOV, it's usually like QuickTime, I think.
For MOV, it could be a bunch of things. It could be like ProRes. It could be
Right.
I don't know. It could be a bunch of stuff. I think technically H.264 could also be wrapped in MOV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So we would do a lot of these things where we take like a tape, and we would even there's something called HD cam at the time. It was like these little tape cameras that would go in like these cameras, but they would be actually digital. So there was a way how to take it off of the tape.
Oh.
There's a way to take it off of the tape and just preserve the actual original codec file without needing to transcode it. So we would also do that. And then what would end up being is that we would use these different weird softwares, like one was on like a Mac, one was like on a Windows, to just do this process. And then when I discovered you can do this through FFmpeg for most of these things, but the only problem was like putting together the command and all those little flags. But then when I learned how to code, I was like, 1 second, but I could just make a program that does it. And then I was like, okay, so the first program was basically, you say, what format are you doing? Where are the files, maybe locally, and then it would just take the file names and just print out a nice FFmpeg command that then you just drop in your terminal and you run it, assuming you have FFmpeg installed. So that was the first program.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty useful.
But it worked. It was like, oh my God, it worked. And that's like when
your first taste of replacing outdated bad software.
The first taste of building something. It was like, oh, it's working. It's like that's when I caught the bug.
That's really cool.
And then, but I still was at my job. I wasn't like, no one like was ready to hire me as a coder, or not even a gem. Like I guess they needed me to do what I was doing at the time. Then this was in a media company called Gem, like a Chabad company. And then there was something interesting where they had this, they wanted to do this video streamer. They wanted to do a custom streaming box, only of their content. Like the world is going digital
For the website?
for the weekly videos. The world is going digital. They're still doing DVDs. They wanted to move over to digital. But a lot of people were telling them, okay, you can go on Amazon Fire, you just go on the platforms that exist. And for them, it was important not to do that, because they were like, if there are regular houses that do not have all these Amazon Fires, whatnot, we're going to tell them go buy it so you can watch, these videos. They felt like that's irresponsible. They didn't feel that that was the right thing to do. So they were like, can we make our own device? Can we make our own streaming device? And they were talking to some developers, and I think the real challenge when you're trying to do these things is that you usually end up either talking to like software people or hardware people, but like it's hard to find, or at least you have to know that you're looking for that. That's someone that does hardware and software together.
Right.
So the people that they knew then were doing software, and they're like, maybe we'll do an Android device, and then they kind of backed out of that, and they kind of found themselves in a place where they were stuck. And I don't know how it happened, but I was like very like, 1 second, can we not do this with like a Raspberry Pi or something? So I just went and I bought a Raspberry Pi, and I took like some open source library, put a video streamer, transcoded a video with FFmpeg, put it on the server somewhere in like S3, like on, and then it's like, and then I was like, oh my God, this is working. And then I went and I bought from Amazon this little remote control for like $5 that you can connect USB into the Raspberry Pi. And I was like, oh my God, I can control right, left, and I can make it fast forward, rewind, because in the JavaScript, in like the app that's running, I like capture the commands, and like I said, okay, if this happens, then fast forward. And I was like, oh my God, and then like, I'm like a perfectionist. I wanted to, and also I like to impress. So for me, it was like, okay, let's make this perfect. And I was like, let me get a case. And then I went and I bought a 3D printer, which was like $500 at the time. And then I printed like this gem, like engraved logo into like this 3D thing and this on the cover. And then I called him over I called over one of the guys that was managing the project at the time, and I was like, the thing you're trying to build, let me show you something. And he took him to the conference room, and I showed him. I was like, check this out. And he's like, oh my, like what? and at that point they were like, cool. And then at that point they were like, okay, you know what, you're going to be on this project. And that's, nice. And then since I got into software, and then
so they ended up going with that. Like they basically just
no, they started with that, and then they brought in some guy that was a big donor there, said he's going to bring in like a professional development team to help out with the software. So they kind of, when we were like in the middle of this, this like hotshot team came in, and I don't know if they were hotshot, at least I thought they were hotshots, but maybe not. Came in and they started working on this project, and it just dragged on, and it dragged on for so long until, I don't know, the money ran out or something, and then they just went back to our project. And then even that I don't think saw the light of day. Like by the time they were ready to release that, everybody was already doing streaming, based streaming. So I think but it was an interesting journey.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So then from there, I got into like software, like full time. And then at some point I went over to a company that does payroll. Didn't really find myself there. Then I was at Vimeo for almost 2 years, doing video related stuff. And also over there, I think like I'm just not built for like the corporate world. Like I need to have like high impact, high autonomy. Can't be like part of this slow moving machine. Like it's just not for me. For some people it's great. I envy those people in a way not. But
it sounds like even from from that experience of building that thing, that
I enjoyed.
Like I enjoyed that.
That was a very good experience in terms of like exploration, move fast, try things. No one's gonna say no.
Right. It's very startup like.
Yeah, but like when it comes to ship, it was like no.
Right. Execution was a bit.
When I wanted to ship stuff, it was like no. So that was the problem there. Also, there wasn't like the alignment wasn't very good there, because in most businesses, there's like a clear path of alignment that everybody can center around, they center the incentives around. It's like delivering value to the customers, or increasing revenue, or improving something. Usually, it's increasing revenue, but over there, it was not clear what the purpose was. And then, even if you try to focus on that, you then found out that it wasn't aligned with what the person making decisions thought was important. So it was very hard to get things out the door. That was the frustrating part there.
I have a very niche question about the GEM website. I'm curious if you know.
Yeah.
We can maybe cut this out if it's too niche.
Sure.
But basically, they have a website where you can watch videos, right? Now, one time there was a part of video that I really wanted to screen record and share with someone. So I turned on my screen recorder, I record the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and when I look back at it, it's black. Like they somehow were able to block out the screen recorder from recording their footage.
Yeah, that's actually my fault.
And I was
So
like, even YouTube doesn't do this. Like, sheesh.
right,
Dude.
and that's interesting. Actually, so let me take that back. I did ship things at Gem.
Okay.
So yeah, it's good that you brought that up because they have an audio app. It's called the Shrenu app maybe.
Yeah, I actually made an ad for them once.
Oh, nice. So I basically made most of that, the front end, like the whole app. And there was a back end developer.
No way.
I mean, at the time, maybe they made changes since then, and then the Gem.tv, I did most of that at the time. Mostly the player. Also a lot of the rest of the app, but then other developers came in as I left. So the actual player and the whole transcoding pipeline, and the reason why you saw black was because of me.
Wow.
Because they're very about protecting the content, and there's
Right.
this concept called DRM, digital right management, where you can take a video, encrypt it in a way that you can only decrypt it as you're watching it with the key that expires, but even if you have the key, you cannot decrypt it in a way that you have access to the binary digits of the file. It's just that you're letting the player of the file decode it, decrypt it in a very obscure way.
So how is it blocking the screen recorder?
So
It's like living.
no, so I don't think it's it's kind of, it's honoring. So Chrome has DRM built into the Chrome browser. Chrome actually supplies the main DRM that we were using at the time, called Widevine, is a Google-based DRM. So Google is like, I'll tell you, Spotify does DRM. Like if you listen to Spotify track, I don't think you can.
No, you can still screen record.
Right.
Like on like a phone and
Right, but I don't think if you like go to the browser of Spotify, listen to something and look at the video stream, if you capture that, it's probably gibberish.
Okay, gotcha.
I think Apple used to do it and they stopped.
I tried this on
I think Netflix probably also DRMs their stuff.
Makes sense.
Most streamers, I think, DRM. YouTube doesn't do it, probably from a cost perspective. And they're in a different business. They're in a more high volume, high usage, more than a low video. Like DRM is also expensive. So for them to do that, and it's complex. So for them to do it, it's probably not worth it. It's not going to increase their ROI.
Interesting. Wow. So basically, so you're saying that it was black just because...
No, so basically the player, the Chrome browser that plays it, it honors the DRM protocol and will say, okay, this is DRM. I'm not going to allow any screen reader to access it. So it could be on the browser, it could be on the software level, it could be on a hardware level. There's different levels of, I don't remember what it's called. There's hardware level, protection. There's software. Yeah, but yeah, that's the... Yeah, then after I got into this payroll company, and then I got into Vimeo, and then I got to know Mendel here because we live in the same community, and he was telling me about, he's doing this thing for notes, for calls, and I already know from dealing with a lot of these agencies that do like this code for like that story at Gem that I told you, cost them a lot of money. And it's like these people, they have no accountability because what they do is they come in and they say, okay, we're going to charge you not by scope, we're going to charge you by time. That means we're not guaranteeing anything. We're just here, we're going to give you an estimate. We'll probably do it within 3 months.
Right.
At this rate, but we're just working week to week.
The worst type of
and the only way why they're able to get away with it is because no one can say no. Because if not, they'll go to the next guy that's waiting for them to do a job. Until lately, and hopefully this will change, people needed software developers more than developers needed people. So they were able to take advantage of that. And they were just like, they set the rules of the game. Right. No scope. And then we drop the ball and there's no accountability. Yeah, the project is like half baked, but you know what, you want to pay, we'll continue doing this. And they don't care. Like, they don't care about their reputation because they're not in a business of reputation. They have another 10 people waiting for projects for them to do it. So that's a sad world. And when Mendel told me he's hiring somebody to do this, I was like, right away something turned on in my head. I was like, okay, he should be careful. And then I was like, giving him some tips around it. And ultimately, the guy dropped the ball on him. And Mendel's like, would you do it? And I said, sure. And, on nights and weekends, like in few days, I think I was able to get like a demo that he would use, and that's it. And then did a bit more, and then he was like telling me, you should come over full time. And I felt like he was the right guy to do it with. Like, I trusted him and I trusted his abilities, which was rare for me in general. But and I knew also I wanted to do it from an opportunity. I like AI was already, this was 2023, ChatGPT 3 came out already. Indications were that if AI continues growing at this pace, probably I'm going to be out of job in the next 5-10 years. So I was like, I have to make a move here. I just can't like rely on my salary forever. Plus, I knew that this environment suits me well. My big question, really my big question was, we're building notes for AI. Like, will everybody else do this, or will this be like a commodity that no one cares about? And Mendel at the time already thought about the call guide. And I was very skeptical that AI can actually do a proper job in the call guide, because AI was hallucinating a lot.
Yeah.
And even though we were all anticipating the AI will get better, there was no evidence that it was going to come better. So for me to make a career move based on that seemed a bit risky. But doing a career move is not really risky. It's all in your head, because staying in a safe place, who says that it's safe? Tomorrow they can have a layoff. And and the company that I was in actually had 3 layoffs. Luckily I was...
After you left?
No, I think before I left, but luckily I was, or maybe one of them was after I left. Luckily I wasn't on the team that got laid off, but like, you're never safe. So it's just right. You can always restart. You can always go and find another job. Like, there's no real risk. The real risk is not trying something that can actually make a difference. So anyways, I took the leap of faith and I did that. And now we're here. I mean, 2 years later, but now we're here.
You know what's really cool, actually? When I first saw Careco, it had the call guide and the notes had citations, which no other AI was doing at the time.
Interesting.
Like, when you use ChatGPT and you put in docs, there was no citations. Claude, there was no citations. Now they started doing it.
Wow.
But I remember thinking, like, wow, that's so smart. Like, that was like, it was like an innovative thing to put citations. Yeah. It made so much sense.
It was pretty cool. I'm curious because I know that the like half-baked version that this other person was doing had that, and I'm curious
citations.
Curious if it was their idea. If
sounds like a Mendel idea. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were ahead of the curve. We're still ahead of the curve massively.
Yeah, we gotta stay ahead.
So what attracted you to Careco? Let's talk about your journey.
My journey. It all started 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
No.
In a basement.
We won't go that far. Let's see. Well, I grew up all over the place as a kid. My father is a doctor.
Oh, really?
But he started, so I was born in Toronto, and then when I was 5, he decided to become a doctor.
That's a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, well, he was actually a computer scientist.
Oh, really?
He has a degree in computer science, and he was working, I don't know where, but in one of these like pre-dot-com bubble companies. And then the dot-com bubble happened, and he lost his job. And it was basically like, okay, I don't think there's any more future as a computer programmer. I better go become a doctor. It's kind of crazy to think about.
What does he think about you now that you're in this AI bubble? Does he like, this is a repeat? Don't do that?
No, I don't think so. I think he sees it more as like a business, which, I mean, business is risky, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he wanted to become a doctor. Wow.
So he decided to become a doctor because like I'll have job security, whatever. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but from what I understand from speaking to him, that was the thought process. And so there's basically this program in Israel. It's like Sackler School of Medicine in Israel, where basically...
What is it?
Sackler School of Medicine. Where basically you do medical school in Israel, but you get a degree to work in America. So it's a lot cheaper, but you get to work in America, basically. So that's basically what he did. So moved to Israel. So I lived in Israel from age 5 to 10.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So you know Hebrew?
I mean, I used to speak fluent Hebrew, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I still, whenever I go back, it starts coming back to me, like being around it and hearing it. I understand it. I understand it very well, but I can't speak it until I'm back in Israel for like a good week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm Israeli. I have an Israeli passport. We made Aliyah, yeah.
He made an Aliyah.
We all, yeah, as a family, meaning all of us, yeah.
I'm also Israeli.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna find out Mendel's the only non-Israeli.
I know, right? Well, Menachem. Yeah. But,
Or is probably also not.
yeah, I don't think Oris is really. Yeah. So that, I think, so we lived there till I was 10, because medical school is 5 years usually, 4 years. And then we moved to Cleveland for a year, where he did residency at Cleveland Clinic, and then Rochester,
wow.
New York, University of
Literally
Rochester.
all over the place.
Yeah, all these random towns.
Wow. And how many kids were you guys?
So when we first moved to Israel, we were 3. Cleveland, my sister was born, so we were 4. And then in Rochester, another sibling brother was born.
Wow.
Now we're more. Now we're like 7 of us.
Was that hard?
Honestly, so yeah, parts of it were hard. I mean, Israel I loved.
For your parents, it was probably very hard.
I'm sure it was very hard for them, yeah. But I mean, my creative, so to speak, career journey, whatever you want to call it, started in Rochester. So I was 12. Yeah, I was 12 when we moved there. 11, turning 12.
Yeah.
And basically we got, so I was obsessed with Apple. Always. I don't know, like the iPod, like when the iPods came out, like the first iPod Touch, all those things. So, like I used to watch the full keynotes of
really?
Steve Jobs, like presenting the new stuff. But basically, I
remember the first was it the iPhone keynote?
I might have been a bit too young for the iPhone keynote, but like from like the iPod Touch, from the iPod, I remember from iOS 4. That's like the main one.
That was after the iPhone?
It was after the iPhone,
okay.
Yeah. But
I'm not fully familiar with the iPad, with the Apple history, but
yeah. No, so basically, I got an iPod Touch, or my father had one, he gave it to me, and it has like this camera. So I started like taking videos of like, I don't know, just like random creative stuff. Also, YouTube was like starting out at the time. And like I would watch people.
So was this mid-2000s? Late 2000s,
What
probably.
we were in 2025. I was 12. I was 11, 12, and I'm 27 now.
So 15 years ago? So
15
2011, 12?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
2011, 10, 11 probably, yeah. Like YouTube was like just starting. I remember like watching yeah. So I got this iPhone, and then we also got a Mac. My father bought a MacBook for as like a family computer. And basically on the Mac, there's a program called iMovie that comes stock on all the Macs, which is like a video editing program. Right. And it's like it's very intuitive, very easy to use. So like I would like film these little videos on my iPod Touch, and then like bring it into iMovie and like make these little videos of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And then I would like go on YouTube and like look up, okay, like how to do like.
So when you're 12 years old, you're already editing videos.
Yeah. Nice. This was like starting at 12, yeah. And then I would like go on YouTube and like look up. There were these 2 guys. Actually, now he's like there's this guy Zach King, who like now he makes these like magic trick videos online that go like super viral. But at the time, he was teaching tutorials on how to edit videos, like how to do like visual effects.
Interesting career path. From editing videos to magic tricks.
Well, it's like video magic tricks. So it's like,
I see. Okay.
He'll like, I don't know, he'll like jump and turn into like M&Ms or something, you know, like.
Oh, okay. Today, that's not like very like special, like with AI and all, right? It's like.
Yeah, exactly. But at the time, it was like, whoa, it's like crazy stuff. So I was doing that, and then I like convinced my father. No, I actually pirated. Like I think I figured out a free way to download Final Cut Pro, which is like the professional version of iMovie that Apple makes. I like got like some free.
It was considered a professional video editor at the time, right?
Yeah. It was like that, and there was Adobe Premiere, but I was using that in the beginning.
Premiere was like not considered professional those years, right? Not yet.
It wasn't.
It was still like hobbyist /
No, it wasn't being used. I don't think in like major studios at the time, but
it was making its way in. It was like slowly becoming its name.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Final Cut was like the standard, but Final Cut, Avid Media Composer.
Final Cut 7 was the standard. They went from 7 to X, which is like 10. So I was using Final Cut X, which wasn't like the standard in the places because they were still all using 7. It was like a whole different UI. It was like really bad. But yeah, so then like, I don't know, at one point I convinced my father to like buy me a course on like visual effects, and like I still have these videos of like that I made as like a 12-year-old.
Oh, wow.
You know, like taking Nerf guns and like shooting, and there's like bullets coming out. It's like all these like fun little videos.
So you got your father to buy you a course on what?
On visual effects and like animation. They also, Apple had a program called Motion. I think it was called Motion 5, which was like After Effects but Apple made it so like you can do like animation and stuff like that.
And it could come in easily you can drag it easily, like import it easily into
like
iMovie?
Worked with Final Cut very well and things like that.
Oh, nice.
So I was like learning all that stuff. This is probably like ages like 12 to 13, 14. And then, yes, I basically just started, like I was making videos for myself. I made videos for like the school I was in. At one point, someone in the community hired me to make like a little video for his app. He had like this app called Real Clear DOF, which is like a Dafyomi app. So like I made this like whole animation.
Oh, nice. That was your first professional video? Like your first video for hire?
That was my first paid thing.
And how did the guy find you? How do you know you...
There's a guy in the community. Like,
how do you know that you made videos?
Like, it was a tiny community. Rochester, it's like, was probably the size of this community here, if not smaller.
So how do you know that you made videos?
So like everybody, I don't know, because like I would make
You're
for the school.
You're a kid that we're making, oh, you made it for the school.
Made for the school, and like, I don't know, it just like kind of got around, like, you know.
So that was your first video.
These random videos. So I think he paid me like maybe $300 or something. But like,
nice.
I worked like 12 hours straight on that, like, because he needed it by a certain date, and I like, yeah. So that was a cool experience at that point. And then I went to yeshiva at like 15. I went to Wilkes-Barre. Yeshiva,
oh, really?
Right here, across the bridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I kind of stopped for a little bit. I mean, that was like my rebellious phase. Like I got kicked out of the high school in Rochester for smoking cigarettes, and then it's a big deal. And then so I kind of stopped for a bit, and then over here in the yeshiva here, at one point there was like a kid who was like a dancer. He like had like all these cool dance stuff, so he asked me if I could like make like a video for him. So I like borrowed someone's camera and borrowed someone's laptop, and like I made a video. I also learned Adobe Premiere at one point. Like I made a video for the yeshiva I was in, and they were working in Premiere and they wanted me to edit it. So like I had to learn Premiere to do that. So like that's kind of whatever. So then I was making these like little videos, little music videos, and then a friend of mine, 2 friends in the yeshiva there were musicians. And they were like, I mean, I thought they were very talented, and like the whole thing at the time was like, okay, like how do we produce music? Like, you know what I mean? Like they have these great songs, but like you have to go to like the studio, and like different people like said different things about studios. Like you don't want to go because they don't get the taste and whatever. And I was like, well, maybe I could learn how to produce music. Because like sometimes you go to these studios and like the guys like,
they just wanted to record.
They wanted to like produce their music and like put it out there, and you know.
But they had their songs. They knew exactly their arrangement. They just wanted to record it.
No, they just had songs on guitar. That was it. So like sometimes
they wanted someone to write the whole arrangement, instruments, and bring
instruments and that whole thing. Yeah. But you had to learn a program which is like it's called the DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, which is like the music equivalent of like Adobe Premiere or whatever.
Like, that's for editing the video.
That's for editing the music. You record everything in. You can edit it. You put effects, mixing. It's like it's a whole world.
Did you learn anything about auto-tune?
Auto-tune?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What do you mean?
When do you do the auto-tune? Is it in the post? Is like in the editing?
There's different ways to do it.
I think it's fascinating. I think most people don't even know that since the 90s, almost every single studio recorded song that's on some normal budget was using autotune. It means...
Well, there's different types of autotune.
That means when I'm singing, when you hear a singer singing on a recording, they're not going to sound the same in real life. They're not going to have that...
There's 2 different things. So there's autotune and there's pitch correction.
Okay.
Autotune usually is basically you kind of just you kind of just like put it over a track, and it'll basically take whatever note it hears and it'll pitch it up within a scale.
Okay.
Like
pitch it up to where?
So like let's say you're in C major.
Okay.
Okay. Are you familiar with music at all? Okay, so let's say you're in C major, and then they hit let's say I don't know, an A sharp, which A sharp is not in the key of C major. So the auto tune will either move it down to A or it'll move it up to B.
So it's going to correct them basically.
So it'll correct the note.
It's going to know that he's out of tune.
Yeah, exactly. So that's auto tune, which the reason why it's called auto tune is because it does it automatically.
Okay. But
then there's pitch correction, where basically you can literally go in and you can see, like, on your screen basically what for every transient it's called, which is like every like peak
sample
of audio
size. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can see what note it is, and you can manually drag it up and down, and like so like the real professionals do pitch correction.
Where people, when you hear people's voice like going like, you know, like I don't know how to describe it, but like precision, you know, like moving in precision, when most humans cannot do that, you know, very select can do that, then usually what is that? That's pitch correction?
Usually it's pitch correction, yeah. Pitch correction is
then
like,
you hear them live, you know,
professional way
what
to
happened
do
to
it.
this guy's voice?
Right.
I mean, I don't really
So live, they use auto-tune a lot of times, because you can't have someone sitting there. You need it to be done.
So it's in real time you can do auto-tune?
Yeah.
Like the latency is good enough?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can do real-time auto-tune.
So it's very, very fast.
There's really funny videos online of like these rappers, because they like almost all use auto-tune. There's like this hilarious video. There's like one of them falls off the stage by accident and he like screams, but it's in auto-tune. So it's like pitch. It's like a perfect pitch.
So who needs to use auto-tune? If someone knows how to sing precisely, like there are people that are very, very skilled.
Yeah.
They're very musical.
Auto-tune is like the quick way to do it. So usually what you'll do is you'll record, you'll throw auto-tune just so you can hear it sounding perfect, and then you'll produce the track. But then afterwards you want to go in and you want to do it manually, because auto-tune can sound artificial. Like you can hear it.
Oh. Because it's kind of like yanking it up suddenly.
It could be like too extreme sometimes. So with pitch correction, usually what they do is they go in.
Make it very subtle.
They make it subtle. You don't want it to be perfect. Like, meaning there's a certain...
Depends who you ask.
No, but sometimes there's a certain emotion that comes by like, you're maybe going up and you're hitting a note that's off, but it's on the way up to hitting the right note, which a lot of times could sound really good, but auto-tune would just shove it up to the right note. So sometimes you want to leave the imperfections. It's like,
what is that called? It's called, it's like they have it in violin and piano too. On the notes, like you'll see like where you're supposed to slide through the notes.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to like jumping, right?
Portamento maybe.
Right, something.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole music production is a whole world.
Yeah, and it's probably changing now with AI, isn't it?
Oh yeah. AI is insane.
It's almost like today people don't really appreciate good singers. It's more about personality, stars. It's like, can you do a good...
It's also songwriting matters a lot.
Right. It's the message, it's your style, it's what your music videos and your general online social presence. Like think in our world, for example, like think in Avram Fried, that's extremely, extremely, talented. Like if he had to start his career today, would he gain any traction? I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Like he's not, I mean, maybe he would adapt. Maybe he would.
It's much more about, it's less about the music nowadays.
than about
exactly.
talent.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was in that world for like 5 years, 6 years. Meaning like, basically I saw them, I saw these two friends, actually three. And I was like, hey, like I'm going to learn how to produce music and market them.
Nice.
Like I'm going to be like
you did that?
I'm going to be like their manager. I'll start like a record label and like, let's see what happens. So that's what I did for the next like 5-6 years. I basically learned how to produce. My first stuff was like terrible. So I actually put it on Spotify. So like if you want to listen to horrible beats, it's out there. Yeah. Nobody wants to listen to it.
When I have a bad day, maybe that's going to lift me up a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
There's worse days than this.
Yeah, you don't want to listen to it. And then like I also started watching like YouTube. YouTube is my college, you know what I mean? Like basically everything is on. I learned everything from YouTube. So like,
but today it's so hard. I don't know. Do you find that? Like
you have to. So
I used to watch a lot of YouTube back in the day when I was learning coding and different stuff.
Saturated.
Now everything that I search is like it's a lot of these Indian people trying to make videos to get
Because
clicks.
you're watching coding stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, it's like
No, it has. Unfortunately, YouTube has become.
it turns into like this clickbait machine as opposed to
exactly.
like I'm
As
trying to
opposed to
share
value.
some skill that I have or some knowledge that I
Right.
have.
So back then, it was still pretty pure. Like I remember finding like these music production channels, and I would watch that, and then I was also I wanted to learn marketing because I was like, okay, like it was like
Right.
you can't just make good music; you have to know how to market.
So you were managing the whole business side of things in terms of like, I mean, or at least
there wasn't much of a business, but yeah.
right, but like the production of music and how to present it, like the graphic design also, like the art cover, whatever it's called.
The album art, the marketing strategy, making content, filming these little videos.
Nice. And where did that go, by the way?
So, I mean, it depends how you measure success. I mean, I think it's pretty successful in terms of like. So you might do you know any of these guys? Do you know Yosef David? Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Cedars of Lebanon.
Singers of Lebanon?
Cedars of Lebanon.
No.
Okay, whatever. I mean, in the small. Okay, this was my thesis back then. Basically, I grew up not really listening to music. Like, I don't know, we didn't really play music a lot in my house. Like, if it was like some random Jewish CDs or like classical music. But I remember when I was like 12, I got introduced to non-Jewish music. And I was like, whoa, this stuff is like so good. And then like I couldn't listen to Jewish music again after that. It was like this stuff sucks. And then so my whole thesis was like, wow, this is like good Jewish music. Like this is Jewish music that sounds like as good as non-Jewish music.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, that's really lacking in the Jewish music.
What style
scene.
was it?
So
classic rock?
It was like singer-songwriter, folk, pop, some of it, depending on who. I ended up working with four different artists.
And are they now still in business, these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that was like my thesis. I was like, okay, maybe I could bring like good Jewish music to the world, you know? So I think on that
it's more like mission driven, purpose driven, more than like career driven.
Yeah. I mean, there was a part of it which was like, I think this music is good enough to reach the non-Jewish world as well. And if it does, then like it gets big, we could like, there is a lot of money to be made in music, and it's a very high, margin money, meaning the way that you make money.
It's a very small amount of people that are making a lot of money.
Exactly. Well, so it's basically, you need a ton of scale. You need massive scale, but if you can reach that scale, you really can make a lot of money. But
that statement is generally wrong, because most people that are even professionals in music, people that study music for many years, it's very hard to make a living.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard because I don't know what the explanation for that is. It's an interesting, because there's high demand for music. Maybe because of the recording era, because we record everything, then top people, the top 1%, they record their stuff. Everybody can hear it. Why would I want to listen to the top 50%? Like back in the day when everything was live.
I think it's more about discovery than that. Meaning, so back in the day, first of all, it was extremely expensive to make music. Like if you're talking about like, I don't know, the 90s, 80s, it was insanely expensive just to make music. Like everything was on tape, and like you go to these studios.
They would splice the tape.
Cost tons of money.
And they would have.
And then if you want to distribute it, you want people to listen to it, you have to put it onto either vinyl at a certain point in time, and then CDs, which all that requires a ton of upfront investment, that's how record labels came about, because they would basically go to artists. They would be like, look, we're going to pay for all of it. We're going to pay for all the upfront costs, because there's a ton of upfront costs.
Right, but you're talking about running a music business or being an entrepreneur. I'm saying even as a professional musician player.
Oh, you're saying like that, like a session musician.
Yeah, if you're like a top-notch, even violinist, but you're not like a, Philharmonic, London Philharmonic level, it's going to be hard for you to find a job, and if you find something, you're not going to be paid like extraordinary. Like you could be, you could have even been in Juilliard's, which is like the best of the best in the world are in Juilliard's, and you're making maybe an okay living.
Yeah, I don't know so much about that side of the industry. Well, I don't know so much about that side of the industry of it.
I think it's like what you're saying. It's the scale. It's like it's usually the people that scale, like because we have recordings these days, and most people, and the live industry is different maybe, but because we have recordings today, I prefer to listen to the top of the type of music that I want to listen to because I can. So I don't need to compromise and listen to like lower quality. So it ends up being that everybody's just interested in the top, 1 to 5% of that area that they're interested in. And those are the ones that kind of grab everything because like they're there and they grab everything. So if you hit that, you grab everything. If you don't hit that,
Right.
you're kind of nowhere.
So at the time, my thesis about it, like the way I was thinking about it was like, so this was like early Facebook days when like people were just starting to like have these like viral videos on Facebook. So I was like, if I could learn how to market this stuff really well, like my whole thing was like, it's all about marketing. Like the songs, like at the time it was like, okay, the songs need to be good, obviously, but they don't need to be like insane.
Why?
It's much more about marketing.
Do you think that people connect to music because of marketing?
So at the time, so first of all, so at the time, yeah, at the time that is what I thought, and I do actually still think so. I think music.
I think maybe without good marketing,
there's different types of music listeners, which I think is very important. There's passive and there's active listeners, which means there's the segment of listeners that the music industry makes most of the money off of are people that they listen to music, they buy merch, they go to concerts. They're like they're like followers of an artist. Mm-hmm. It's like they're like
cultish kind of.
Yeah, they're like diehard fans. And there's actually a great article I read around that time, it was basically all about that all you need is 1,000 true fans. Which is
easier said than done.
Which the idea was basically if you have 1,000 true fans that you can offer them stuff so that you're making $100 a year off of each person, you're making 100,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So
you know who discovered that? All the anti-Semitic people on social media these days. They're like, that's one easy, quick way to get a lot of true fans. Just click into that. No one's tapping into that industry. I'm telling you, that's exactly what they're doing. They're they're seeing the flywheel effect of
No, so now social media has basically become this. It became like Mr. Beastified, which is like the whole thing of Mr. Beast. Like he kind of came up with like an algorithm almost of how to make the perfect video that gets people
right, and also even the thumbnail, everything, the A/B testing,
yeah. So social media now has become a lot more like that. It wasn't like that.
It's so much clickbait driven. It's like, YouTube has become that. YouTube has become promoting what's going to make you most likely to click and most likely to stay watching.
I actually was I was researching this. So there's this idea of memes. Right, like like what a meme is, like when you see a meme. But where it comes from is memetics. This concept of memetics from I think Richard Dawkins came up with it. I mean, I don't like the reason why he came up with it, but I think there's a lot of truth to the theory.
Oh, for sure, we are memetic.
Right, but it's basically like ideas spread through culture, like the same way cells spread through the body. So basically, they like infect hosts, like our brains. And then the ideas and the things that are easiest to replicate end up spreading and rising to the top. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, unfortunately. Meaning, like you can kind of, if you know enough human psychology, you can kind of create the perfect virus to like spread throughout culture. But at the time, like at this point in time, Mr. Beast didn't even have like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like, This was like, I remember actually seeing a Mr. Beast video where he counts, I think he like counts to like 1 million or something like that.
Really?
It's like an 8-hour video.
He counts himself? Wow.
The way he got famous was he did crazy stuff like this. Like he would sit in front of a camera and for like 8 hours count to 1 million.
You know, it's funny. I once thought about that when I was like in my teens. I was like, or not my teens, when YouTube was like picking up. I was like, to get a hit on YouTube, you need to do something crazy that no one else is willing to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can do anything. You can go to, it can be something violent. It could be like, going and throwing a rock at the police station window. Or
by the way, it's still true today. That theory is still true. It's just that the stakes are much higher. Like you have to do something insane
because
today.
everybody's already doing it, so you have to
Exactly.
kind of break out of that, right?
Yeah.
But like it was, I guess he figured it out in a way that makes sense. That's not doing anything violent or getting him in trouble, but in a way that just
Just
it
over
requires
the
a
top.
lot of discipline. It's easy to say, "Oh, I'll just sit down for 8 hours," but I
Dude,
think
it's
if I would try it for 20 minutes,
you see him slowly going crazy. It's like
Yeah.
you could scrub through the whole video. It's
Wow.
yeah. So like my whole thought at this point was like, okay, if I could learn marketing really well, I could produce these guys' music, and then maybe we could maybe it can go somewhere.
But you enjoyed it. You liked it. It was like a natural pulling. Like you enjoyed the challenge. You believed in like the music that they were doing,
I believed in the music.
and you also saw a potential career path.
I saw a potential career path. Like I saw like, okay, like maybe I could open, if this works, I could open a record label. Like we could find new artists. They could come in and like we record them. Then they go to like the branding team and like they.
So where did this all stop?
So I did this for like, when did I start? So I did this from like I started learning this stuff when I was like 17. By like 18, 19, I was already like decent enough to like start like fully producing songs. And then we put out like the first EP. Like we put out a few singles and then like an EP.
What's EP?
EP it's called extended play. It's basically just like a shorter version of an album.
Okay. What is it, like 2-3 songs?
Usually like 4 songs, 4 or 5 songs. And then, yeah, I mean, so in the beginning it was like, there was a lot of movement, meaning like we were posting on Instagram. Instagram was like brand new at the time. We were posting first on Facebook. We got like some pretty good traction. And then we were posting on Instagram, like right when Instagram like started like doing videos and stuff like that. And those were doing well. And like, there were all these hacks at the time. Like basically there were basically these theme pages on Instagram. Like people built up like a curated page of like really good singers, for example. And they had like 300,000 followers. And you can literally pay them $25 and they would post your video. So like we were doing, so like there was little things like that.
A lot of opportunity at the time.
Exactly. So like we were doing stuff like that. We had some pretty good growth and traction. And so I was doing that. So I was working with one artist and then I started working with a second artist. And I don't know, we were doing that for like, I was probably doing that for like 5 years, like 8, let me think about it. 18 until I got married when I was 22.
4 years.
So it's 4 years. So I was doing that, and then I got married. I was still doing it, but like now I had to start making money because like I'm married and apartment and stuff. At the time, the truth is I was still doing on the side. I was still doing like to make money to pay for my rent and food and stuff. I was doing like freelance video work. So like I still knew how to animate and do all this stuff.
So basically this wasn't bringing enough money that you knew that you could have stayed there.
No, this was like the long-term play. Okay. Like this, like in a certain sense, every single time, what's really cool about music and really content in general is anything that you put out, it lives forever and it makes money forever.
Right.
Like I'll be making money off of these songs.
Oh, you have rev share on these things?
Yeah. So like that was part of the deal. So like in exchange for producing and doing all the content, I got a percentage.
Oh, cool.
So like the idea is like, okay, number one, there's two versions of scaling this. One is just putting out enough music that even if each one is making a couple dollars in aggregate, right. And then the other version of scale is you put out one song and it gets millions of people listening to it. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like going for both. Like how could we, put out, basically the more artists I could work with, the more songs I could put out, the more it can make eventually. But it was a long-term thing. It was like, okay, maybe in 10 years, I'll be making a living off of it.
Is it picking up slowly?
Yeah.
Over time?
It's definitely growing over time, meaning like it grows, it's only grown.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, and what's really cool is every single song grows everything else.
So it's like money in the stock market.
Exactly. It's like slowly.
Like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
It went up 10% this year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Slowly growing. Yeah.
What do I want to buy now?
I mean, I wish Spotify pays nothing. Spotify pays 0.004.
The only difference with that in the stock market is you have to pay tax on that. In the stock market, if you don't pull out, or if you don't get dividend, you just tax free.
That's true.
Reinvest, recompound.
Right. You can't really do that. I mean, you could do that if you have a LLC and you're just reinvesting the profits.
Reinvesting in what? It depends. You have to
reinvesting in new music, in new production, and marketing, and whatever. Yeah.
Then yeah,
But
it's harder. It's much harder to do
yeah.
that.
But then I got married, and then I was doing it. I was doing that in freelance on the side, but at a certain point, it just wasn't making enough. Like I was in like a lot of debt and just wasn't making
No.
enough money. And so I got a job at a at a marketing agency that I had like done some freelance work for. I asked them if they had wanted to hire me at a certain point, but then it was like right when I was getting married, so it like didn't work out. And then like a year later, I reached back out, and then I started working there. And I worked there for like 2 years. It was in New Jersey, so I would like drive every day from Crown Heights to New Jersey. It's like I don't know, like a 40 minute drive each way. And I learned a lot there because like there's a big difference. Music is like very niche, so like there's a certain strategies and certain ways of doing it. But then marketing, like they were doing marketing for mostly like kosher food products, but also for like any random Jewish stuff, like I don't know, like some guy's taxi company, or I don't know, like 24/6. It was like it's like this
Right.
Jewish music app. So like for that, so there's a lot that I learned from like doing marketing in the real world, so to speak, like more consumer based, not like. Music is very like brand building almost. Like there's no direct ROI. Like when you're doing consumer marketing, it's like we're going to spend $1,000 on an ad. It needs to make whatever, $10,000.
Right.
With music, it's like we're going to spend $1,000 on putting out this song, and we're going to do that like 80 times, and then we're hopefully going to make a return on all the 80. It's kind of like the VC model more than like
Oh, I see.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's more about the volume.
So it's not about time. It's not like the brand recognition approach. It's more I'm going to have to put out a lot, and then some of it may give me some returns.
Some of it's going to do more than others, but also as a whole it builds up the brand.
When I listen to
catalog.
some of these albums, I mean, or at least the albums I used to listen to as a kid, like of the Jewish music, like it's so obvious that like there's only one or two really good songs, and everything else is just like a filler. It's almost like
that was a tactic back in the day.
it's almost like you have to just fill up the rest of the tracks with, which as a kid you kind of connect to certain songs, even though they don't make sense. As an adult, you're like, it's just a repetitive,
Right.
song that why would even anybody like this? But
Right.
as a kid, you connect to things.
But that was a tactic back in the day. Meaning back in the day, they would have one or two singles, which would like play on the radio that everybody would know about. And then they would sell a $12 CD, fill it up with random stuff that nobody would.
But today it doesn't work.
No, so today it's all about singles.
Because you put on Spotify, like you can spend the money on the 12, but no one's going to play the 12. So why even waste time on it?
Yeah, so today it's all about singles.
Today it's brutal, right? It's
Meaning
brutal.
what most artists do is they put out one track, they promote it like crazy on TikTok. If it doesn't take off on TikTok, they just go to the next one. And then once one takes off, then they like really double down on it. They'll like release 15 versions of it. They'll put marketing money behind it.
Why do you hear a lot of these like Jewish singers saying that it's much harder to make money today compared to what it was? Like
It's way harder.
I'm just like thinking like from first principles. Like ultimately, I have Spotify.
Yeah.
I pay $10 a month, $120 a year. I can't see that I would buy 10 albums a year for music. I'm just not that kind of person. Like I would buy a few and keep on. So and maybe I'm not representative of your typical person.
But think about it like this.
Let me just finish this out.
Yeah, sorry.
So I'm spending a lot more than I would because I'm using Spotify. Spotify is like generally they're doing like a 20% they take, right? They take 20-30%. Yeah, they take 20.
Spotify pays out 0.004 cents a stream.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do. It averages out to some sort of number that has to do with the regional percentage of the gross income that they're making, of the gross that they're making.
They take the gross that they make and then they divide it up based on who you listen to, basically.
Right, but they end up taking 30% or 20%.
It could be.
It's a very, very efficient system. Like
I'm actually curious. Can we fact check that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Spotify has a lot of different deals that they've made.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, look up. I'm curious how much does Spotify pay out to artists? What percentage of revenue.
I'm gonna ask AI. Oh no, it doesn't have my account here.
I love how derailed we got. This is so not about Careco.
Who cares?
Yeah. No one's watching anyway.
1 second, this is not going anywhere.
Just do Google. They'll show you the AI overview.
Google's gonna give me the AI overview, right? No, I just used to be signed into Grok, and it's not. Spotify pays out approximately 70% of its net revenue to rights holders. To rights holders. So that's a very important word. With right holders, with the remaining 30% kept by Spotify of its net revenue.
Okay, so gross revenue. Rights holders is a very important word.
Why?
Because the way the music industry works is there's artists,
right,
and then there's record labels.
Right.
The record labels own the rights to the music.
That was always that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But the record labels need their profits.
Right.
So the artist doesn't actually, the 70% that goes to the record labels doesn't go to the artist.
But that is always like that.
Well,
you're saying they're just grabbing an extra 30%? That's the inefficiency of the market today compared to what it used to be?
Well, I think you can do the math, which I'm curious to see. But basically, if you... how many songs do you think you listen to?
So this is what I'm trying to get to. Like,
a month.
There's two drivers of profits. It's gross income, or it's inefficiency, or it's efficiency gains, right? It's either cutting costs or increasing revenue.
Right.
And what I'm suspecting, I don't know, I didn't do research on this from my personal habit, which I'm usually not typical, but I spend a lot more on Spotify compared to what I probably would have. So if I'm taking that as some sort of indication, which is I shouldn't, it means revenue is increasing. And then if I'm thinking about the efficiencies of delivery of music, I would assume even after the 30% cut, Spotify in the digital age is probably way more efficient than selling discs, because then you have to pay the disc creators, the delivery and all that, all the distribution that's involved. And here you cut all that, and I don't think 30% is a loss compared to what it used to be. So I'm thinking the revenue increased, the efficiency increased. So net, there should be more money being made by artists. So maybe it's a different problem. Maybe there's more artists. Well, maybe it's a distribution problem.
Yeah,
like in terms of the percentage of distribution where it's being funneled to.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely part of it. I think it's a few things. Number one, there's way more supply. Now.
Yeah, because of the digital age. So that's
right.
Yeah,
there's
okay. So a lot more people sharing the pie.
It's so much easier to make music. It's free. It's free to make music, and it's free to release music nowadays.
Right. So back in the day, as like a Chabad person, you would have
so much
5 people you would listen to.
Exactly.
Today it could be 50 people.
Exactly.
So they all have to share.
They all have to share that pie.
Even though the pie is grown.
Although if you look at record label, if you look at Universal Music, which is like the largest record label, their profits have grown insanely. Like meaning they're way more.
Right, because they are in aggregate still holding a big chunk of the pie. They're just making more efficient
most of the pie.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just making basically the money, instead of funneling to the artist, because it's becoming so efficient and so what's it called, easy democratic, or whatever you want to call it, like a much more fair system. Anybody can contribute. It means a much larger pie. So that means most of the money is going to more people, but less to individuals. And then also these big companies that are facilitating all this are making a lot more money.
Like back in the day, if you had a number one song, that means that like most of the world is going to buy your album because you have that number one song. Right. Nowadays, just because you have a number one song, it doesn't necessarily, like, it means like, okay, everyone might listen to your one song and give you 0.004 cents.
Right.
But they're also going to listen to all these.
But then you're saying back then they were like, okay, I got to buy this album. They go and they spend the $12, they buy it, they listen to it once, they forget about it.
Also, like if you look up like the best selling, like Michael Jackson, for example, I think his like best selling album sold like 70 million copies.
Wow.
Like that's insane. Nowadays, 70 million copies means 70 million people bought your album, right? Multiply that by however much it costs, let's say $12. That's a lot of money.
It's like 700 million.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you got 70 million streams, right, that's whatever that is. That's what's 7 times 4? That's 21. 20. No.
It's 28.
28. So you're making like maybe 2.8 million.
Right, but a stream doesn't equal an album. Like an album could be hundreds of thousands of streams, but it depends how many times you listen to it.
Right, but people are only buying the album for that one song. You know what I'm saying? So like,
but also you have like this, because it's a high barrier to entry. Like I have to buy the album.
it's less events. Yeah.
Because I have a high barrier to entry, I'm not going to spend the $12 on somebody that I'm not sure I like his music. I'm going to go with the safe. I'm going to go with like the the record label guy or the top charts person.
Right.
And I'm like so on Spotify I can explore. I can be like, oh, this guy sounds interesting. What else does he have? And then click, and then like, oh, let me add that to my playlist. And before you know, you're listening it to 10 times a week.
Also, back in the day, the record labels owned a lot of the manufacturing companies that made the CDs.
Right.
It's kind of like the music and the film industry nowadays. A lot of the film industry nowadays is somebody buys a movie, but the studio pays out their own, like they'll hire catering for the movie, but it's a company owned by the studio. So there's like all these costs that are just
big costs, these big
yeah, exactly. So it was kind of also like that. So there's a lot more money to go around as well.
Interesting. Wow, we came a long way.
Why did we get into this?
You were into music, and
I
like to derail conversations.
Music. No, it's good. I like talking. I honestly love talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, likewise.
It was my life for like 5 years.
I used to listen to a lot of music as well. A lot of music.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, then I was saying I was working at this marketing company. So I was working at this marketing company, and then I moved here, and then I was working remote, and it was kind of like it was going well, but like it's a kind of job and company where like it really thrives being in person. And I was also looking for like I was looking for something more. Like I was working at this job, but I'm also like kind of entrepreneurial, and I wanted to do something that I had a little bit more autonomy and say and whatever. I also wanted to make more money, and it was kind of like capped at this job of like the potential of where it can go. And then I was reading like an Ami article, and it's like this guy Mendel with this cool company, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
You were already here local?
I was already living here, yeah. It was about Mendel, and basically like he has this care coordination company, and I was like, oh, this guy's like my age, and he's who I want to be one day.
Nice.
So,
but it said he's doing like a software for like.
It was like vaguely in the article a few times it mentioned like Careco.
Oh, interesting. It was called Careco or Soap Notes at the time?
It's called Careco.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so like one of my business ideas was like maybe what I can do is like basically people that have a podcast, I can like basically make clips for them and edit their podcast and like just charge like a monthly retainer. Eventually I could outsource it to people, and I was like, fine. So I was like, so number one, I just wanted to meet Mendel just, because I
So you reached out to him cold?
I reached out to him.
Nice.
I sent him my portfolio. And then I like made him a video before coming.
Oh, right. I remember that.
And then I came, I met with him, I spoke to him, I told him my idea. Then he started telling me about Careco and whatever, and that he was looking for someone to make a video for the launch. So I ended up making the video for the launch. That like you saw that video, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice.
Then the rest is history. Then Mendel offered me a job. I thought about it for like a day, and I was like, yeah, this is
nice.
Totally worth it. Take the jump, and yeah.
Cool. No, I thought also we could talk a bit about our like what we do and how we operate, but we can leave it for another podcast maybe.
Yeah.
Like I think like it's cool like to talk about the AI stuff that we use internally to be more efficient.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. We're just a 5-person team, including support, including sales, marketing, design, software development. We're firing on all cylinders. We're probably ballpark of $1 million revenue right now, annual.
Yeah.
Last Mendel, if we need to beep that out.
Founder math.
Back of the napkin math.
Yeah. No, I think AI. I mean, AI
and it doesn't feel
insane.
like we're massively constrained right now. Like it doesn't feel like we must hire.
In fact,
feel like we must hire.
Not just
right
do
now?
I not feel like we're constrained. I feel like I am not. Like I feel like there's so much more that I could do just using AI that I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's interesting.
The constraints that I feel is like, wait, like I met with this guy today he has like an agency that like does content, and like they do research and scripting and make content. And I was talking to him, and then I got off, like he gave me like this whole quote and everything, and I got off and I was like my mind just started going like, wait, like how could I just do this myself with AI and just set up a whole system? You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh, we have to hire now somebody to do this.
What was it for? What kind of work?
It was basically like to like research and script content, like videos, like basically research
for Careco.
Yeah, for Careco, for like things like in the industry that is going on and things like that. And
it's a total agentic type of thing that you can do today.
Yeah, so like I got off the call and I was like, wait,
Claude Code even
like
give it to Claude Code.
So I kind of almost feel like I'm not using it enough.
Yeah.
You know,
it's interesting because in my field, I think like AI is much less. I feel like in coding, like anything other than like the low end, like AI, I don't know. I've been like giving a lot of thought on this, trying to read up a lot because there's a lot of salespeople, consultants, and people that have self-interest that are telling you that AI can write code and can replace developers, or that they're 10x more efficient. And I'm very skeptical because I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing like a 10-15% efficiency. Also, the big companies like the Googles and Microsofts, they're also reporting a 10-15% efficiency. So like, what do these, people online know that the Googles of the world don't know? So obviously, I'm skeptical when people make those statements, but...
Are you talking about specifically code efficiency?
Yeah, code efficiency. Like replacing code, like... When you have a large code base, when you need to make these little delicate moves,
it's not good at production stuff.
Right. So so some people argue that you're not using the right tools, you're not learning the right way, because there's always this thought that I have that developers, coders, especially the good ones, they're always skeptical of anything. So they're going to try some AI, they can even try for a few hours, and they're going to be like, then they're going to write it off and kind of write it off forever. Like they're, even if you say, oh, there's a better AI, they're like, oh, whatever. And then they'll try it for a bit, they'll see some mistakes. So they're not trying to make it work. Unless you're incentivized with the bottom line of the business, you don't have to make it work, because what do you gain by being twice as fast if you're kind of losing a sense of control, if you have to get a lot out of your comfort zone? What's your incentive to do that? And that kind of...
If you were tasked with building some sort of AI thing that would make it easier to do your job, do you think that's even possible? Like, do you have an idea what you would do?
Yeah. I think that the trick of and I actually did a prototype of this like over a year ago when AI was much more in its infancy, and I was able to actually get very good results. But it's much more about deeply integrated into your workflow. That means you kind of build the AI, not build AI, but you build the workflow of the AI, and you inject it with very specific instructions on how to follow certain patterns in your app or how to do certain things. And then for certain types of tasks, it just gets it right. And like if you're just using like some of these open things that are available by Anthropic or OpenAI, they sniff, they kind of guess, they want to guess, they get a lot of things right. The code works most of the time, or they have like this feedback loop where they can see that the code is not working and they'll fix it. But to get it right in terms of like be aligned with your vision of the code base or the concepts, the patterns, a lot of times I get it off, and there's just a tweaking. At that point, you're like, oh, I could have just written this myself. What did I gain? But if you're very intentional about it, I think there's ways to do it in a way that basically the system that I started entertaining and building would take 2 weeks of sitting down and building it out to a point where it's productive, or maybe even 3-4 weeks. It wasn't very clear what the timeline was, but at the time I said, okay, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to save myself 20 hours a month, which is a lot, but the ROI just didn't make sense. I kind of dropped it. But I feel like if we would have, 50 or even 20 engineers, I would spend 2 weeks to try to see that I'm getting good signals on something that I think you just have to be very creative and really like figure out how to slice it out, but it still wouldn't replace anybody. It would just make people much more efficient.
Do you think that just like these tools are not being made by developers that understand? Like, there's all these stuff like Cursor and whatever. Right. I mean, they seem to all be focused on consumers, like meaning they seem to be trying to capture like everybody that wants to just like make something,
Right.
as opposed to
The problem I think with those things are that they're going for the common denominator. So they're saying like, how can I be most valuable to most people, as opposed to being so the approach that I'm talking about that could work. And I don't know, maybe I'm just out of date, and maybe Cursor does this kind of stuff already, even though from what I've tried or what I heard, it's not superbly better than any of these Claude Code or Xcode codecs. But the approach that I'm talking about is being much more in command of telling the AI, setting up a system that always the AI is aware, okay, this is the context, and this is the instruction set of how we do things, and then work off of that. So let's say you have certain patterns. The way you would train a sort of an intern or a junior developer, that's how you would train this thing. Not literally train it like in terms of just feedback, but more of like dump all that data in there, give it the clarity, not too much data so it gets confused, and then I think you can be much more efficient.
interesting.
But still, it's not something that I'm not saying it's going to be 100% replaceable of certain things, but
Right.
certain tasks I'm like, there's no way AI can do this. Like a lot of the tasks that I do, I'm like, it's going to mess up, and it's the time to review and to figure out what it tried to do, and to iterate. That time I could have just done it myself. So in your space, I think it's very different. In like the content,
Very different, yeah.
content and design, it almost seems like it's replacing. Like
It's insane.
it's totally replacing hours of work.
Just before this podcast, my sister-in-law has like a little baked goods company, and she asked if I can edit some photos of like her stuff.
Yeah.
So she took like just a photo on her phone of like her muffins, and I put it into AI. I put it into Nano Banana, Google's thing. I took an image from online of like this beautiful photography of whatever, and I got a prompt for it. I just put it in, her image, and it made this beautiful photo of like, it literally like, there were sprinkles on some of the cookies, and it got the exact position of the sprinkles from her original photo into this photo. It was like,
Oh, nice. Wow.
it was like insane. It was like, and you could 100% just use that. And that just,
Wow.
that just replaced a whole, like, a day photo shoot, hiring a person, hiring a location, like, and I was able to do that in like half hour.
I think in design, basically, it's very isolated. Every image, every video, that's it. That's all you got there. It's not interconnected. In code, you have a big code base. Every piece of code that you do is interconnected into millions of lines of code. So it becomes these deeply connected layers. First of all, the AI can't track all that, can't keep a clarity in its head around the relationship between all that. And also there's a lot of layers and nuance of complexity involved. So to get all that right is very hard. But just like say, okay, here's an image, here's like, let's say, a few million pixels. I get the idea. That's how I think of it. It's a much less complex thing to figure out. So it turns out that in the professional space, you can use AI. In the design space, you can use AI to literally replace people, right?
Yeah.
Professionals, you can literally replace professionals. In coding, you can't.
Right.
You can't replace professionals.
It is interesting though, because
with AI,
right? But
unless you're doing very simple stuff like websites and stuff like that,
right? But in theory, it should be possible. Meaning, your human brain keeps track of your whole code base on some level. There's no reason why eventually they can't figure out how
first principles.
Yeah, like there's no reason why they
Right.
can't eventually get to a point where the AI can, the same way the brain, like I don't know, you have like a cache of
The AI
like,
doesn't really work like the
context.
brain, even though some people think it does. But yeah, I mean, from a perspective of thinking that ultimately human brain is just physics, it's just neurons and whatever, and you can replicate that in the physical world, then for sure. I mean, it's just also efficiency. Think about how many tokens we're processing, so to speak, and at how much wattage. Like, what does our brain take? Like 20 watts. Like, it's crazy. Like these
these things take the power of the half of America.
Right. And if you want to run like GPT-5, you're probably running on this huge thing that's like pulling like kilowatts. So yeah, there's a lot of But the question is, right, you could have said that 2,000 years ago, but where were they? Like, what did they have? They had nothing. So you can make that
You're saying it might be another
that
2,000
analogy,
years.
right? I mean, everybody thinks it's around the corner because AI is moving very fast, but you never know. You never really know. There's no guarantee that AI is going to keep on moving the way it is, other than the fact that so far it has been. Like, there's no, I mean, unless you believe scaling laws just are true linearly without, without
Drop
uh,
off.
without a drop off where you suddenly start getting diminishing returns. Unless you believe that, there's no necessary guarantee that AI is going to get better, because scaling laws have worked until now. So yeah, the more you scale, the more you get out of it, and then at that rate, we can have like AGI in a few years or something. But it does seem to indicate that scaling laws actually have like this drop off point.
I mean, everything has anything that you try to scale has that drop off point. So why wouldn't this?
Everything?
Pretty sure everything at a certain point, when you get enough scale, it starts having diminishing returns. Like, meaning there's this perfect sweet spot where it's like the perfect scale to return ratio.
Right. The question is also what kind of drop off you're looking at.
Right. It also does. Yeah. I mean, the question is, I guess, can they still get to 100, or like 99.99 is just gonna, that final 0.1% is gonna just cost trillions of dollars.
Right. So that's what's happening now. Every version of AI is getting better, but the amount of money they're putting in is proportionally much greater than the difference between, the last one and this one. So, and then, I mean, there are a lot of clever techniques, like these Chinese models. Where do you think they're getting so good from?
Right.
They're
just distilling, right?
They're distilling, like, yeah, they're learning off of like the Anthropics and the OpenAI. Someone asked one of these new, like, there's this Minimax, it's called Minimax 2, is like one of the hottest, latest Chinese models, and someone asked it something, and it said, yeah, I'm Claude 4.5 or something, and then so it's
that's funny.
That's interesting, right? It's funny because they're now. These companies are saying, "Oh, they're stealing our IP."
And like, as if they're not.
The irony is so tremendous there.
As if they're not stealing the world's IP.
Exactly. It's like irony.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well,
call it a pod.
Episode 24.
I'm so tired. Wow. Yeah. Episode 24.
We'll find out later if it was a good idea to go into our histories.
Yeah.
But
all right.
All right.